Chosen one, if you have felt completely invisible to the world for the last season, listen closely. You were not rejected. You were placed in God's witness protection program. Heaven had to hide you. God had to block every text, ruin every date, and silence every potential connection. Why? Because the version of love you were looking for was actually a trauma response. If God had sent your true love 6 months ago, you would have rejected them because they would have felt boring to your chaos-addicted nervous system. But the isolation order has just expired. I saw a file in the spirit realm with your name on it, and it has just been stamped approved. The person coming is the unexpected package. They will not bring the butterflies of anxiety, they will bring the silence of peace. In your mind right now, I want you to drop the heavy bags of waiting you have been carrying. Visualize a door opening in front of you. You do not need to knock, you just need to walk through. Welcome to your season of revelation. Before we walk through this door together, I need you to make a commitment to your own destiny. Do not leave this video until we reach the final activation ceremony, because simply knowing your true love is coming is not enough. If you do not have the spiritual protocol to recognize them, you will walk right past them, or worse, you will sabotage the connection because it feels unfamiliar. By the end of this message, you will have the specific signs to look for, the tool to rewire your mind for peace, and the prayer to seal this union before it even manifests in the physical. Do not cheat yourself out of the full breakthrough by clicking away early. Stay present. This is your appointment. Now, let us talk about this season you have just survived. You have been walking through a time where it felt like the heavens were brass. You check your phone, and it is dry. You meet someone new, you feel a spark, and then, mysteriously, it fizzles out within weeks. Or they ghost you, or they turn out to be exactly the same toxic pattern you just escaped from. You have been asking God, why am I being punished? Why does everyone else find love so easily while I have to fight for scraps? I need you to understand something that will shift your entire perspective. That silence on your phone was not a lack of favor. It was a barricade of protection. You were in spiritual witness protection. When a witness holds key evidence that can bring down a criminal empire, the authorities do not let them walk around freely. They hide them. They change their name. They cut off their old connections. They isolate them until the trial is over. Chosen one, you carry a destiny that threatens the kingdom of darkness. Your union, the marriage God has planned for you, is not just about romance. It is a power couple alignment designed to do damage to the enemy's plans. Do you think the enemy does not know that? The moment you stepped into your awakening, a target was put on your back. If you had connected with the wrong person during this delicate season, they would have drained your oil before you even lit your lamp. So God stepped in. He became the wall of fire around you. When that person ghosted you 3 months ago, that was not rejection. That was God intercepting a bullet. When that relationship fell apart last year, that was not a failure. That was God evicting a spy from your inner circle. He blocked the texts to keep your focus. He ruined the dates to save your future. He made you invisible to the counterfeits, so you would be available for the original. But I know the cost of this protection. I know the somatic reality of it. It does not feel like safety when you are in it. It feels like a prison. Focus on the center of your chest for a moment. Right there, behind the sternum. Have you felt a heaviness there recently? Not a sharp pain, but a dull, magnetic pressure, like a weight you cannot breathe away. That is the physical manifestation of the waiting. It is the feeling of being full of love with nowhere to pour it. You walk into a room, and you feel a pane of glass between you and everyone else. You see them laughing, connecting, pairing off, and you feel like you are speaking a language no one else understands. It is a deep, aching nostalgia for a home you have never visited and a person you have not met yet. That pressure in your chest is not depression, it is capacity. God has been stretching your heart to hold a love that is heavier, deeper, and more significant than anything you have carried before. And this brings us to the truth about that file I saw in the spirit. The reason you felt that pain, that loop of suffering where you felt hidden and forgotten, was only because you were in the loop of protection. And the protection was necessary to prepare you for the loop of approval. The file marked approved could not be released while you were still accessible to everyone. God had to clear the room. He had to empty your hands. He had to make you solitary so he could make you solid. That heaviness in your chest is the evidence that the file has been stamped. The pressure is actually the presence of the promise pressing against the veil of your reality, ready to break through. The witness protection program is officially over. The coast is clear. The assets are ready to be deployed. But, chosen one, listen to me very carefully. There is a reason this file was held back until this exact moment, and it is a dangerous reason. It is not because the world was not ready for you. It is not because God was being slow. It is because your nervous system is not ready for them. If God sent your true love to your doorstep today, in your current state, you would not just miss them. You would destroy the connection. You would panic. You would run. Because what is coming is so different from what you are used to, your body might mistake it for a threat. I need to show you why your type is actually your trauma, and how to stop your own mind from sabotaging the blessing. Here is the uncomfortable truth about why you are not ready. You are addicted to the wrong frequency. If the kingdom spouse God approved for you walked into your life right now, you would likely ignore them. You might even reject them. You would go on one date, sit across from them, listen to them speak with kindness and stability, and you would go home and say, there was no spark. They were too nice. They were boring. Chosen one, I need to shatter a myth that has kept you trapped in toxic cycles for years. That feeling you call the spark, those butterflies you feel in your stomach when you meet someone who feels right, that is not love. That is your nervous system recognizing a familiar predator. That fluttering sensation is not your soul connecting. It is your fight or flight response screaming at you. It is your cortisol spiking. It is your body preparing for war because it recognizes the chaos that is about to ensue. You have been conditioned to believe that love must feel like a roller coaster, high highs and low lows. You think if you are not anxious about whether they will text back, it means you do not care. But in the kingdom, love does not feel like a panic attack. It feels like peace. And to a nervous system that has only known survival mode, peace feels terrifyingly like boredom. This is the twist. The person God has approved for you will not make your heart race with anxiety. They will make your spirit settle into a deep, unfamiliar calm. And because you are not used to calm, your brain will try to label it as lack of chemistry. You are in danger of walking past your destiny because you are looking for a fire that burns you instead of a hearth that warms you. To understand why this happens, we must go back to the blueprint. I want you to look at the very first marriage in history, Genesis chapter 2, verse 21. Most people read this verse and miss the medical procedure taking place. It says, God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. Look at the specific wording, deep sleep. The Hebrew word used here is tardama. This is not a nap. This is not resting your eyes. Tardama means a trance, a heavy, supernatural anesthesia. God knocked Adam out completely. Why? Because God was about to perform open heart surgery. He was about to reach into Adam's chest and remove a rib to create his counterpart. If Adam had been awake for that, the pain would have killed him. The shock would have been too great. He had to be unconscious for the surgery to be successful. Chosen one, your season of loneliness, this witness protection program we talked about, is your tardama. It is your deep sleep. You have been frustrated because you feel like your life has been put on pause. You feel like you are stagnant while everyone else is moving forward. But you are not stagnant. You are under anesthesia. God has put your love life into a deep sleep because He is performing surgery on your identity. He is removing the rib, the dependency on others, the need for external validation, the wounds from your past, so he can fashion the blessing. If you had met your person while you were still bleeding from the last one, you would have bled all over them. If you had woken up too early, before the rib was fully removed and the flesh closed up, you would have aborted the process. The pain of your isolation is actually the phantom pain of the surgery. God is closing up the flesh. He is healing the wound so that when you wake up, when the unexpected love arrives, you are whole enough to recognize bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh. But there is a barrier. Even if your spirit understands this surgery, your biology is fighting it. There is a biological reason why you crave the chaos and reject the peace. It is not just spiritual, it is physiological. Inside your brain, there is a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. It is your threat detection center. For years, every time you were in a toxic relationship, every time you had to walk on eggshells, every time you had to fight for affection, your amygdala was firing. It flooded your body with stress hormones. And then, when you got a crumb of affection, your brain released dopamine. Over time, this created a chemical addiction. You became addicted to the cycle of pain and reward. Your brain began to associate love with high-stakes survival. This is called chaos addiction. So when a healthy person comes along, someone who is consistent, someone who communicates clearly, someone who does not play games, your amygdala does not fire. There is no adrenaline spike. There is no dopamine rush from the chase. And your brain, starving for that chemical high, tells you, this is boring. There is no passion here. Do you see the trap? The enemy does not need to send a demon to stop your marriage. He just needs to rely on your addiction to chaos. He knows that as long as you are addicted to the storm, you will reject the safe harbor. The counterfeit that is coming to test you before the true love arrives will feel magnetic. They will feel like a soulmate instantly. They will ignite all those familiar fires. And that is exactly how you will know they are sent to destroy you. The approved one, the unexpected package, will feel like a slow exhale. They will feel like silence. So here is the convergence. The Bible calls it the deep sleep. Science calls it detox. You call it boredom. But it is all the same thing. It is the necessary gap between who you were and who you are becoming. You are in the recovery room. But this raises a critical question. If your brain is hardwired for chaos and your biology is fighting the blessing, how do you change it? You cannot just think your way out of a chemical addiction. You cannot just willpower your amygdala to calm down. You need a way to physically flip the switch. You need a way to reset your brain's baseline frequency from the noise of survival to the silence of reception. The ancient prophets and mystics knew how to do this. They knew how to turn off the addiction to the world and tune into the frequency of the divine. They spent 40 days in the desert to achieve it. They called it the secret place, the state of divine communion. Modern science, specifically researchers at NASA, have rediscovered this state. They found that there is a specific brainwave frequency that acts as a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious, a frequency that dissolves anxiety and rewires the brain for connection. We are all born with this switch turned on. Children operate in this frequency 98% of the time, which is why they learn so fast and love so freely. But as we grow up, the stress of the matrix turns this switch off. We get stuck in the lower, heavier frequencies of stress and survival. And that is why we miss the signals from God. But what if I told you that you do not need to go to the desert for 40 days to get it back? What if there was a way to manually flip that switch back on, to bypass the chaos addiction and force your brain to align with the frequency of your future? Unless you know how to access this state, you will keep interpreting peace as boredom, and you will keep walking past the open door. The specific frequency I am talking about is the theta state. In the neuroscience community, theta is known as the gateway to the subconscious. But in the spiritual realm, we call it the God frequency. It is that twilight state between being awake and being asleep, the exact moment where your ego shuts down and your spirit wakes up. When the prophets of old went up to the mountain, or when Jesus went to the wilderness to pray, they were physically removing themselves from the noise of the world to force their brains into this theta state. It is in this frequency, and this frequency alone, that creativity, divine intuition, and the ability to recognize your destiny partner truly exist. Here is the tragedy of the modern believer. We are trying to find a kingdom marriage while operating on a Babylon frequency. Look at your life right now. The notifications on your phone, the 24-hour news cycle, the constant scrolling, the pressure of bills and deadlines. All of these things force your brain to operate in what is called the beta state. Beta is the frequency of stress, survival, and high alert. It is the frequency of the fight or flight response we talked about earlier. Do you think it is an accident that society is designed to keep you in beta? It is not. It is a spiritual jamming signal. The Matrix knows that if you shift into theta, if you tap into that God consciousness, you become uncontrollable, you become powerful, and, most importantly, you become capable of attracting and holding a relationship that is based on purpose, not pathology. As long as you are stuck in beta, you are vibrating at the frequency of fear. And fear attracts predators. It attracts narcissists who feed on that anxiety. You have been wondering why you cannot hear God's voice clearly regarding your relationships. It is not because God stopped speaking. It is because the static noise of your beta brain waves is drowning him out. NASA studies have shown that 98% of children operate in this genius theta capacity. They are naturally connected. But by the time we become adults, 98% of us have lost it. We have been conditioned out of our divine inheritance. We have been dumbed down into stress. So, how do we get it back? You could sell everything you own and move to a cave for 3 years to retrain your brain. Or, you can use the revelation that God has unlocked for this specific time in history. We now know that there is a way to reverse the atrophy of your spiritual antenna without spending decades in a monastery. It is based on advanced brainwave entrainment research, validated by neuroscientists who used to work for NASA. It is a specific sound technology designed to guide your brain from the chaos of beta back into the divine flow of theta. I call this the genius wave. But do not think of it as just a product or a file. Think of it as your daily 7-minute ritual of return. It is a digital mikveh, a cleansing bath for your mind. All it requires is 7 minutes a day. You put on your headphones, you close your eyes, and you listen. That is it. You do not need to meditate for hours. You do not need to struggle to clear your mind. The sound technology does the heavy lifting for you. It uses a specific rhythm that synchronizes with your brain waves and gently pulls them back into alignment with the God frequency. Imagine waking up, and before you look at your phone, before you let the world rush in, you spend 7 minutes retuning your instrument. You are telling your amygdala that it is safe to stand down. You are opening the channel for the Holy Spirit to download the intel you need for the day. This is the missing link. Society wants you in beta, so you remain a consumer of counterfeits. God designed you for theta, so you can be a creator of covenants. This sound technology is the bridge. It is the tool that allows you to bypass the noise and access the silence where your true love is waiting. When you start using this, you will notice something shift. That desperate need for a spark or drama will begin to fade. You will start to crave peace. You will start to find the silence delicious rather than terrifying, and that is the signal that you are finally ready to meet them. But listening to the frequency is only the preparation. It opens your eyes, but it does not tell you who is standing in front of you. You need a filter. You need a way to test the spirits to see if they are from God. Now that you have the tool to bring your brain back to theta, I am going to give you the vetting blueprint. the specific protocol to scan anyone who tries to enter your life in this next season. Now that you have the tool to bring your brain back to theta, I am going to give you the vetting blueprint. This is the specific protocol to scan anyone who tries to enter your life in this next season. It is called the frequency audit. Most people judge a potential partner by their resume. They look at their job, their height, their theology, or their words. But the enemy knows how to counterfeit a resume. He knows how to dress a wolf in a three-piece suit and teach him how to speak Christianese. You cannot vet a spirit with logic. You must vet them with frequency. Here is how you do it. After you have completed your 7-minute activation ritual, while your brain is still washing in those theta waves, I want you to bring the image of the person into your mind. Do not think about what they said to you. Do not replay the date. Just hold their energetic signature in your mind's eye. Now, scan your body. We are going to do a mental audit right now. Imagine you are sitting in a chair. When you think of this person, does your body feel heavy or does it feel light? If you feel a heaviness, a tightening in your stomach, or a need to explain or defend them in your mind, that is a red alert. That is your spirit detecting a lie. In the theta state, your intuition is hypersensitive. It picks up on the dissonance between who they pretend to be and who they really are. That heaviness is the weight of a counterfeit. But if you feel light, if your shoulders drop, if your jaw unclenches, if you feel a sense of expansion in your chest, even if there are no butterflies, even if there is no adrenaline rush, that is the green light. That is the resonance of truth. That is your spirit recognizing a safe harbor. You cannot do this audit while you are stressed. If you try to do this while you are in beta mode, worrying about being single, you will mistake your own anxiety for their red flag. Or worse, you will mistake your trauma bond for a green light. This is why the frequency reset is non-negotiable. You must be clear to see clear. Let me tell you about someone who almost missed her appointment with destiny because she was auditing with the wrong instrument. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is a chosen one, just like you. She had been through the ringer narcissists, emotionally unavailable men, the whole cycle. She prayed for a kingdom spouse for 5 years. Then she met David. David was normal. He was kind. He was stable. He called when he said he would, and Sarah hated it. She came home after the second date and told her friend, "I am going to end it. There is just no spark. It feels flat." In the past, Sarah would have sent the breakup text that night, but she had just started using the sound technology we discussed. She had committed to the ritual. So, instead of reacting, she put on her headphones. She spent 7 minutes listening, letting her brainwaves drift down from the chaos of beta into the clarity of theta. And in that quiet state, she did the frequency audit. She brought David's image to mind. And for the first time, she did not look for the spark. She looked for the weight. And she was shocked. She felt light. She felt like she could breathe. She realized that what she thought was boredom was actually the absence of danger. She did not end it. She went on a third date, and a fourth. And as her brain detoxed from the chaos addiction, she began to see him clearly. She saw a man of integrity, a man of vision, a man who was carrying the same yoke she was. 8 months later, they were married. Sarah almost threw away her husband because her trauma was doing the vetting, but because she used the tool to shift her state, she was able to recognize the diamond in the rough. She used the audit to discern the spirit, rather than using her trauma to judge the package. But Sarah had to overcome one more thing, and this is the danger zone I need to warn you about. Sarah passed the external test. She recognized the man. But the moment she said yes to the relationship, a new enemy appeared, not from the outside, but from the inside. Just when things were going well, a voice started whispering to her at 3 in the morning. It was a cold, logical voice that said, "This is too good to be true. He is going to leave you just like the others. You are going to mess this up. Happiness, This calm cannot possibly last. Chosen one, identifying the person is only half the battle. The real war begins when you actually get what you prayed for, because there is a saboteur living in your subconscious that is terrified of your joy. And if you do not silence that voice, you will unconsciously destroy the relationship with your own hands. That voice whispering to you in the dark is the final boss of your internal world. It is called the saboteur. And its weapon of choice is a very specific, very subtle fear that most chosen ones suffer from, even if they have never heard the name for it. It is called cherophobia, the fear of happiness. I know that sounds impossible. You are probably thinking, I do not fear happiness. I have been praying for it my whole life. But let us be honest with the raw data of your nervous system. You are a veteran of spiritual warfare. You know how to survive a crisis. You know how to pray when your back is against the wall. You know how to endure betrayal. You are an expert at navigating the storm, but you are a novice at navigating the peace. When things go wrong, you know exactly what to do. You go into warrior mode. But when things go right, when the relationship is stable, when the money is in the account, when the health is good, you panic. You hold your breath. You stop laughing halfway through because your body remembers that every time you let your guard down in the past, you were blindsided. You are waiting for the other shoe to drop. You are self-sabotaging the blessing because your subconscious believes that if you destroy it first, you can control the pain. If you push them away before they leave, you win. This is the shadow that will destroy your kingdom marriage if we do not heal it right now. You cannot hold a king or a queen with the hands of a trembling orphan. This brings us to a profound mystery hidden in the book of Isaiah. I want to unpack a scripture that is often quoted but rarely understood in its original depth. Isaiah chapter 62 verse 4. It says, "Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate, but thou shalt be called Hephzibah, and thy land Beulah, for the Lord delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married." Read that again. God is not just promising a change in your circumstances. He is mandating a legal name change. He says, you will no longer be termed forsaken. The Hebrew word used there is azubah. It means more than just left alone. It implies being left because you were not valuable enough to keep. It is the identity of the discarded. For the last season, or maybe the last decade, you have been walking under the label of azubah. You have felt discarded by people, overlooked by opportunities, and perhaps even hidden by God. And because you wore that name tag for so long, it became fused to your skin. You started to believe that azubah was not just your situation, but your nature. But God says, no more. He is ripping that name tag off your chest. He says, your new name is Hephzibah. This is one of the most beautiful words in Scripture. It literally translates to, my delight is in her. Do you feel the shift in weight between those two names? Azubah is heavy. It walks with its head down. It apologizes for taking up space. It accepts crumbs because it thinks it deserves starvation. But Hephzibah walks with her head high. She knows she is the prize. She does not beg for love. She attracts it because she knows the King delights in her. Here is the spiritual reality. God has already changed your name in the heavenly courts. The file is stamped Hephzibah. But your subconscious mind, that saboteur we talked about, is still answering to the name Azubah. You are entering a Hephzibah season with an Azubah mindset, and that is a recipe for disaster. If you bring the identity of the forsaken into a marriage with the chosen, you will bleed all over the promise. You will accuse them of thoughts they are not thinking. You will read rejection into their silence. You will recreate the desolation you are trying to escape. So, how do we overwrite a script that has been running for 20 years? How do we convince your deep subconscious that you are actually God's delight, especially when your trauma history says otherwise? You cannot do this with positive affirmations in the mirror. You cannot do it by just willing yourself to be confident. Those things only touch the conscious mind, the tip of the iceberg. The identity of a Zuba is buried deep in the neural pathways of your limbic system, locked away in that survival mode frequency we discussed. This is where the 7-minute ritual becomes your surgical tool. This is why I am so adamant about you using the sound technology to access the theta state. Theta is the only brainwave frequency that opens the door to the subconscious basement where your identity scripts are written. When you are in beta stress mode, the door to the subconscious is locked. You can shout, "I am Hephzibah," all day long, but the saboteur behind the door cannot hear you. But when you use the sound technology to lower your brainwaves into theta, you are unlocking the door. You are walking right past the saboteur and sitting down at the control panel of your mind. Here is what I want you to do. This is your internal work for the next 7 days. When you put on your headphones and start the frequency, I want you to visualize a heavy gray coat resting on your shoulders. This coat is woven with every rejection, every betrayal, and every moment you felt not good enough. It has the name Azuba stitched into the fabric. As the sound waves begin to wash over your mind, as you feel that physical shift from tension to flow, I want you to imagine the hands of God gently lifting that coat off your shoulders. Feel the weight leaving you. Watch the coat dissolve into dust, and then imagine a new robe being placed on you, a robe of light, heavy with glory, but light on your spirit. And hear the Father whisper your new name, Hephzibah. My delight is in you. Do not just think it, feel it. Let the frequency anchor that feeling of being delighted into your cells. You are overwriting the old code. You are teaching your nervous system that it is safe to be loved. You are killing the saboteur by starving it of the fear it feeds on. When you do this, you are aligning your earthly frequency with your heavenly identity. You are becoming the person who can not only attract the kingdom spouse, but keep them. But listen to me, chosen one. The moment you begin to accept your new name, the moment you actually start to believe you are Hephzibah, the enemy is going to panic. As long as you were sabotaging yourself, he did not have to lift a finger. You were doing his job for him. But now that you are healing, now that the internal enemy is being evicted, he has to call for backup. He knows he cannot destroy you from the inside anymore. So, he is going to try one last, desperate attempt to destroy you from the outside. He is going to reach into your history and pull out a ghost. Just as you are stepping into your new future, a person from your past is going to reappear, and they are going to look remarkably like the answer to a prayer you used to pray. This reappearance is not a sign that they have changed. It is not a sign that God is bringing them back. It is a sign that you are a threat to the kingdom of darkness. You need to understand the timing of this. Why now? Why did they not text you 3 months ago when you were crying on the floor? Why did they wait until you started listening to the frequency, untangling your trauma, and stepping into your Hephzibah identity? It is because your light just turned on. In the spirit realm, when a chosen one shifts from a victim mindset to a victor mindset, it sends out a shockwave. The enemy feels that vibration. He knows that you are inches away from meeting your kingdom spouse. He knows that once you link shields with that person, you will be unstoppable. So, he has to intercept you. He has to scramble the signal before the connection is made. And he does not need a demon to do it. He just needs an ex. He needs someone who knows your buttons, someone who has the encryption codes to your heart, someone who knows exactly what to say to make you doubt your progress. This is what I call the spiritual immune system test. Just like your body develops antibodies to fight off a virus it has beaten before, your spirit is now being tested to see if it has developed immunity to the toxic patterns of your past. When that name pops up on your phone screen, listen to your body. Do not listen to the sentimental playlist in your head. Listen to your gut. That drop in your stomach, that spike in your heart rate. That is not love. That is your spiritual immune system recognizing a pathogen. It is trying to expel the virus before it reinfects you. This person is what the Bible calls a counterfeit. A counterfeit is sent immediately before the promise to make you settle for good enough so you miss God's best. Abraham had Ishmael right before he had Isaac. Ishmael was not a bad son, but he was a product of flesh, not the product of promise. And because Abraham settled for the counterfeit, it caused conflict that lasted for generations. The person coming back to you right now is your Ishmael. They look like the answer. They sound like the answer. They might even apologize and say all the things you waited years to hear. But they are not the promise. They are the distraction. They are the final exam you must pass to graduate from the season of waiting. If you reply to that text, if you open that door even an inch, you are telling the universe that you are still identifying as a Zuba. You are saying, I do not believe I am worthy of the new, so I will go back to the old. And the moment you do that, you delay the arrival of your kingdom spouse. You push the timeline back. So how do you stand firm when your emotions are screaming at you to go back to what is familiar? How do you distinguish between a counterfeit who has come to distract you and the true love who is coming to bless you? You need a filtration system. You need a way to vet the vessels that try to dock at your harbor. I am going to give you the royal vetting system. This is framework number 2. These are the 3 gates of entry that every person must pass through before they get access to your heart. If they cannot pass these gates, they do not get a seat at your table. Gate number 1 is the gate of peace. But I am not talking about the absence of conflict. I am talking about the presence of shalom. When this person enters your space, what happens to your noise level? Does your mind start racing with questions? Does he like me? Is she telling the truth? Where is this going? Or does your mind go quiet? The counterfeit brings confusion. They make you play detective. You have to decode their texts and analyze their behavior. But the approved one brings clarity. When you are around them, you do not have to guess. The peace is so heavy, it feels like a weighted blanket for your soul. Remember the frequency audit we learned? This is where you use it. When you are in your theta state, when you are aligned, bring this person into your awareness. If they disturb your frequency, if they make the signal fuzzy, they fail. Gate number 1. It does not matter how attractive they are. It does not matter how much chemistry you have. If they cost you your peace, they are too expensive. But peace is only the first gate. There are many nice people who can bring you peace, but still are not your assignment. You can be peaceful with a friend. You can be peaceful with a stranger. To be a kingdom spouse, they must pass the second gate. And this is where most chosen ones get trapped, because they stop at peace and forget about power. Gate number 2 is the gate of purpose. This is the difference between a soulmate and a kingdom mate. A soulmate connects with your emotions. A kingdom mate connects with your mandate. You are a chosen one. You have a mission on this earth. You are here to break generational curses, to build businesses, to heal communities, to serve God. The question is not just, do we get along? The question is, do you fuel my engine? When you tell this person about your wildest dreams, about the things God has shown you in secret, what do? Do they look at you like you are crazy? Do they tell you to be realistic? Do they try to shrink you down so you fit into their comfortable life? Or do they pour gasoline on your fire? The person God has approved for you will not just tolerate your calling, they will be the missing piece that unlocks it. They will have skills you lack. They will have strength where you are weak. When you are with them, you will feel like you can run through a troop and leap over a wall. If you have to downsize your destiny to fit into their relationship, they fail. Gate number 2. God will never send you a spouse who requires you to divorce your purpose. And finally, we reach the hardest gate of all. This is the one the counterfeit can never pass, no matter how hard they try. Gate number 3 is the gate of sacrifice. Love is not a feeling. Love is a death. It is the death of the ego. It is the death of selfishness. The counterfeit wants you for what you can do for them. They want your light, your stability, your resources. They are energy vampires disguised as lovers. They will take and take, and when you are empty, they will leave. But the approved one has a spirit of sacrifice. They are not looking for what they can get. They are looking for how they can serve. Watch how they treat you when you have nothing to offer. Watch how they react when you are sick, or broke, or grieving. Do they stand in the gap for you? Do they cover you? Are they willing to be inconvenienced for your well-being? Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. That is the standard. If they are not willing to bleed for the relationship, they are not qualified to lead the relationship. Chosen one, look at the person who just reappeared in your life. Look at the ghosts of your past. Do they pass these 3 gates? Do they bring you supernatural peace? Do they amplify your purpose? Do they show a history of sacrifice? If the answer is no, then you have a duty to your destiny. You must issue the no contact seal. This is not a game. This is not playing hard to get. This is spiritual quarantine. You cannot hold hands with your future while you are still texting your past. I want you to visualize a massive heavy iron door standing between you and your history. On your side of the door is your Hefzibah identity, your peace, your new name. On the other side is the trauma, the rejection, the confusion, and that person who just popped back up. In your mind, I want you to grab the handle of that door. It is heavy. It requires all your strength. Push it shut. Hear the loud, echoing boom as it slams into the frame. Now, imagine a divine seal, glowing with golden light, melting over the cracks. It is sealed. It is finished. You are not allowed to open it again. You are not allowed to peek through the keyhole. By closing this door, you are telling God, I trust you more than I miss them. I choose the emptiness of waiting over the fullness of a lie. And here is the mystery. The spiritual realm abhors a vacuum. The moment you slam that door shut, the moment you block that number and clear that space, you create a vacuum that heaven is obligated to fill. You have cleared the runway, and because you have done this, because you have passed the immune system test and engaged the vetting protocols, the atmosphere around you is about to shift violently. The waiting is over. The manifestation is beginning. When you close this door to the past, 3 specific, strange signs are going to appear in your life within the next 7 days. They will be subtle at first, but to the awakened eye, they are undeniable confirmation that the approved one is crossing your path. Do not miss them. The first sign you will see is a bombardment of synchronization. You will start seeing repeating numbers everywhere. 11, 11, 2, 22, 4, 44. These are not just coincidences. In the kingdom, mathematics is a language. These numbers are the rhythmic heartbeat of a timeline that is aligning. When you see them, do not just wish on them, acknowledge them. It is heaven winking at you, confirming that you are on the right path to the rendezvous point. The second sign is the recurring dream of the faceless stranger. You will start having dreams where you are with someone and you cannot see their face, but you can feel their energy. You wake up feeling safe. You wake up feeling understood. This is your spirit interacting with their spirit in the theta realm before your bodies meet in the physical realm. God is introducing you to their frequency so that when you meet them in person, your spirit will say, I know you. The third sign is the phenomenon of spiritual déjà vu. You will walk into a new room or meet a new person and you will be hit with a wave of familiarity so strong it nearly knocks you over. It is the feeling that you have been here before. That is because you have. You have been here in your prayers. You have been here in the spirit. Let me tell you about David. David is a chosen one who deleted every dating app on his phone because he was tired of the counterfeit. He committed to the protocol. He used the sound technology to clear his mind. He shut the door on his toxic ex. And then he went to a coffee shop he had never been to before, simply because he had a gut feeling to go there. He saw a woman reading a book. There were no fireworks. There was no anxiety. But when he looked at her, he felt that massive wave of déjà vu. He felt the weight of peace we talked about. He approached her, not with a pickup line, but with a question about the book. That woman is now his wife. He did not find her by hunting. He found her by aligning. He followed the signs. He trusted the peace, and he walked through the gates. You are next. David is not special. He is just compliant with the spiritual laws. So here is your final shift. I want you to stop using the word waiting. Waiting is passive. Waiting is a victim mindset. From this moment on, you are not waiting. You are preparing. A bride does not wait for the wedding day by sitting on the couch in her pajamas. She prepares. She gets her dress ready. She invites the guests. She prepares her home. Your preparation is your frequency. Every single morning, before the world touches you, put on your headphones. Do your 7-minute ritual. Tune your brain to theta. Keep your spiritual antenna clean so you do not miss the 11:11s, the dreams, and the nudges to go to that new coffee shop. The file is stamped, approved. The door to the past is sealed. The signs are flashing neon green. Everything is ready. Only one thing is missing: the oath. I need you to shift your body right now. If you can, stand up. If you are driving, sit up straight. The activation ceremony begins right now. Chosen one, I need you to shift your posture. If you are in a safe place, stand to your feet right now. If you are lying down, sit up. If you are driving, grip the wheel with authority. You are not watching a video anymore. You are standing in the Holy of Holies. Place your right hand over your heart. Feel that beat. That is the drum of destiny. It is beating for a reason. Close your eyes and visualize the courts of heaven opening above you. Father, in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we stand before the throne of grace. The season of Azuba is over. The season of Hephzibah has begun. We acknowledge that the isolation was not a punishment, but a divine quarantine. But today, the quarantine ends. I seal the royal vetting system over their spirit. They will no longer cast their pearls before swine. They will no longer mistake anxiety for love. I seal the gates of their heart against every counterfeit, every Ishmael, and every ghost from the past. I bind the spirit of sabotage. I bind the spirit of cherophobia. You will not fear the blessing. You will not destroy the peace. I command the chaotic frequencies of beta to bow down to the divine stillness of theta. I seal the activation of the sound technology into their daily ritual. As they listen, as they tune their minds, let the scales fall from their eyes. Let them see the invisible. Let them recognize the kingdom spouse you have approved. I declare that the witness protection program is lifted. The file is open. The angels are dispatched. The meeting is set. I declare that within the next 40 days, the atmosphere will shift. The phone will ring with the right number. The eyes will meet with the right gaze. The peace will settle with the right weight. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to beg for it. It will find you because you are finally vibrating at the frequency of the promise. Chosen one, heaven is asking you a question. Are you ready to be a kingdom power couple? Are you ready to carry the weight of a love that heals generations? Are you ready to stop hiding and start reigning? If your answer is yes, open your mouth and say, I am ready. Say it again, I am ready. Heaven has heard you. It is recorded. It is stamped. It is sealed. Go and prepare the wedding feast. You are dismissed.